Hey y'all, so today I'm following up a couple of videos I posted earlier about being unable to obtain medication because my psychiatrist essentially ghosted me. So I did receive an official apology from someone from that practice who is trying to fix what's going on at their practice. But it still doesn't change the fact that my own psychiatrist can email me or call me and did not do so. So I do want to bring to light that sometimes these things happen. Like, people are human, even doctors. So sometimes doctors drop the ball. But I was able to get my medication, and that inspired, just having the issue with medication inspired for me to talk a little bit about my decision to start medication. I was extremely anti-medication because, well, before I started taking medication. So I started taking medication after my third baby. My postpartum depression was just really, really bad. And then I was also living in a narcissistic abuse situation at home. So I needed help. I had zero capacity to cope. That's what really drew the line for me. I had no ability to cope. So my OB at the time, because I was not even a month postpartum, and my husband, I met her for a private appointment to talk about the postpartum depression and medication. So that's when I started after having my third baby, and that would have made me, I'm trying to think how many years old. 25 years old. So I made it 25 years before medication. So I was extremely anti-medication up until then. And even after having my first two babies, I was diagnosed with a pretty severe, or I'd say, because it's a scale of, there are numbers, and I was just like, really, I exceeded the numbers that they have for the postpartum depression scan for your 6-week postpartum appointment. So I exceeded those scales for both of my girls are the first two babies. And then, yes, I also had it for my boys because I have two girls and two boys. So I refused for the girls because of my super skeptical anti-medication beliefs. So look, retrospect, I really wish I had just started medication. Would have made life a whole lot easier for everybody. But regardless, I wanted to go into why I was so anti-medication. So I've given you when I started medication, but why was I so anti-medication? Why did it take me so long, or to start medication? Why was I so against it? And some of you might relate. Some of you might be trying to remain off medication. I don't blame you, because you get cases like my previous videos that you might see that like, one, I have to find a psychiatrist, and psychiatrists are not exactly affordable. They're definitely an investment. And for whatever reasons, well, because they're physicians, so it works with your insurance as would a regular like physician visit. So anyways, seeing a psychiatrist is an investment. It's more time. Thankfully nowadays there are televisits, so you can see a psychiatrist through your phone. So that helps people like me. I'm a mom. I'm a super busy mom with 4 very little children. Regardless of how many children you have, being a mom, being a parent is a super busy life. So psychiatry is more accessible. And then you're on medication, so you are dependent on a substance. You are dependent on these chemicals, these hormones, whatever it is that the medicine is helping you with. So then you get cases like mine, which is rare. It shouldn't happen. That I was in fear of not being able to have access to medications, not having a medication, and then going into withdrawal. even if it was just like for a day or two to get medicine, still that just puts your body way out of whack. So I totally understand. Like, I didn't want any of that. I didn't want to deal with that. I don't want to be dependent on medications. That is a struggle. So, but most of the time, again, my case was very rare that I was in fear of not having my medications, ironically, because of my psychiatrist. So the reason I was so anti-medication before goes back to my childhood. As long as I've been alive, I knew that my biological mother, I was raised by my biological parents. So my biological mother, I know the only diagnoses that I know of her are depression and like a seasonal mood disorder. I think that was diagnosed, but definitely depression is the only one that I know of. And sorry, my hair keeps like getting my face. So as long as my memory serves me, my mother was always on medication. Like, as long as I've been alive, she still is today. So one, I don't like seeing that she's been on medication like over half her life and she's dependent on it. What encouraged me to actually start medication was my OB said, you don't have to be on it forever. And I was like, oh, like, I didn't know that you can just be on it for a temporary amount of time in your life. And I've since learned that some people have it to get through college, some people have it like to get through kids, like just stressful times in one's life, but you don't have to be on it forever. And I was like, oh, that's a game changer, because to me, my mom, it seems that she's been on it forever and she's like forever dependent. So, what I learned from that is, I'm working with a psychiatrist. I am on medications because I have a psychiatrist working with me. And so then they'll be able to help treat and provide me exactly what I need. Well, not exactly, because everything's trial and error and we can't know for certain exactly what our bodies need. At least we lay people don't. So I learned that a difference between my mother and me is my mom never saw a psychiatrist. I think I don't know how she got her medicine, but I know she never worked with a psychiatrist. And me, I'm working with a psychiatrist, and I plan to always work with a psychiatrist for finding the right blend right now, which I'm going through. And then hopefully being able to stay in touch with a psychiatrist. If not, then whenever the time comes that I believe I can manage not being on medication, I want to try to wean off of the whatever medication I have, I'm going to work with a psychiatrist, because another difference between myself and my mother is she tried to wean herself off of her medicines herself. And I saw her go into panic attacks and just like lose her mind. So that's scary. So that was my impression of a life on medication to help with symptoms. But me, I'm going to work with psychiatrists, and we're going to wean me off slowly and according to how it should be done. Another difference between my mother and me is that I'm trying to live a healthy lifestyle and I'm on medication. My mother did not try to live a healthy lifestyle and is on medication. So she relies on medication alone to help her. So the idea for me is to get healthy and help with my symptoms, get me through these really rough years of my life. When life slows down, then I'm going to maintain the healthy lifestyle that I'm working on now, like my nutrition and fitness, essentially, and whatever sleep I can get, with 4 kids. So that was another difference I had to acknowledge between myself and my mother. Medication does not have to be forever. You work with a professional to help you find the right blend and then come off whenever the time is right. You don't do it yourself. So, and then the last thing that really got me for medication was I knew my mother, like ever since I was little, I knew she was on medication, yet she was still always angry and always like a really mean person. Well, behind closed doors, that is. To her children, yes, she was extremely mean to us. But I knew she was on meds, and I figure, like, why bother trying medication when it, doesn't seem to help? So the difference there is probably that because she didn't really try to get the help. She just knew she needed medication. So she got medication, but I don't think she ever found the right blend. So the difference from me, from my mother, is from that role model of medicine for symptoms, for conditions, is that I know that I need to find the right blend. And at the same time, I need to work on myself. I can't just rely on medicine alone. That's something else that differentiates me from my mother. Is I've been on a journey and I'm never going to stop. My journey of growth and healing. I don't recall my mother ever really doing that. I have some memories of her trying to get into fitness with that guy. What's his name? You know, that little home video instructor back when on VHS, the really like peppy white guy with the fro. Oh, do you know who I'm talking about? So if you do, shout out, because that's my memory of my mom trying to be fitnessy. And but it was like she didn't so I'm reaching out for help, and I'm having people hold me accountable. I don't think she ever had a source of accountability. I don't think she had that strength within her to just do it, which I totally understand. Like, she had a lot of kids. I have a lot of kids. It's hard to do that, but you have to make the time to do it. And I didn't see her prioritize her health, physical, nutrition, or any of that. So that is something that's very different. Not only am I pursuing medication, but I'm also working on myself interiorly and exteriorly. So with my emotional health, my mental health, I'm growing and healing, and physically I'm working on my nutrition and physical health. So I hope that this has helped give a little insight to somebody who was extremely anti-medication to being on medication to this day. And I can say that the medication has helped. My medication so far, the past 2.5 years now, I've been on medication. I've been able to survive. It's gotten me through to be able to definitely, I can cope. I can be on this journey of healing and growth and really like finding myself as a person, but I'm still really on survival mode. And because I've been told that being on medication, you should be feeling great, like your best self, and I'm not there yet. So I do want to keep y'all updated on finding the right blend for me and how my medicine's working with a psychiatrist. All right. Let me know what you think of medicine.